back to less lethal contingencies. Alan here. So we are going to be doing a fifth test with the new 4 times 12 gram CO2 stock and the TR50 by Umarex. All right, this is my double deleted TR50 and no valve block in here and no restrictor in the handle whatsoever. Been fully drilled out. This time I'm going to run it open and use it as a chamber, expansion chamber, which is what it's designed to do. And I have introduced the GOG on and off, which should give us some restriction on the flow, which should assist should assist in preventing auto fire. So although we still had a little bit towards the end of yesterday's test, test number 4, I believe I was getting some slugs of CO2, liquid CO2 that were coming in towards the end of towards the end of the CO2 cartridges as they were depleting, and I believe we got some in there which caused some issues. So what I did differently this time is I did experimenting with a few different ideas actually, really to avoid having to put not yet make the stock any longer by adding a CO2 device on here, and or losing my on and off and having to replace it with one of those expansion chambers with the CO2 device in it. So I'm trying to avoid that. So had a couple ideas. One was steel wool. Picked up some of that, but I figured before I even try that, I wanted to try like some stainless steel screening basically. So I put a small piece of screening inside, not inside the on and off, but inside the actual connector end here, the G half inch connection right here where it goes from 1/8 stainless steel to the paintball adapter, basically paintball or tank adapter. So what I did was, matter of fact, I could take it off and show you, see if it's something you can see. I don't know if it'll come out on camera or not, but we can try. So let's see here. Let's right there. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to come out very well, but the light reflects off it, you might see it. But basically, it's some stainless steel mesh that it's a faucet aerator, stainless steel mesh. And I basically trimmed off the outer part of it so that I could fit it in there and pushed it in. So I'm going to try this first to see if it will provide like some sort of, a type of filtering. So hopefully it'll filter and keep the liquid CO2 in this, in the adapters and in the plumbing here, in the stainless steel plumbing, versus it coming out, going through the on and off. So I'm going to try that first. I guess you can't really tell from the camera, but believe me, there is there is some stainless steel mesh inside this piece right here, and hopefully it's going to serve as a filter and help atomize. Not really a filter, but really kind of like the screen's going to serve as to help atomize that liquids, any slugs of liquid CO2 from if they pass through there. So at least that's what I'm hoping for. So if that doesn't do the trick and I still suspect that I'm having liquid CO2 getting in there, then I'll try the steel wool. I'll try the steel wool next. My concern with the steel wool, and maybe it's unfounded, but my concern really with the steel wool was well, I bought some coarser stuff anyways, but I was concerned that maybe there was a possibility that it could get pushed through and find its way further down in the gun. Maybe it wouldn't. I mean, we're not looking at massive pressures with the CO2. We're looking at 700, 750. But, if I'm shooting outside, it's warm. It could be higher pressures than that. So I wanted to see that. I feel like the steel mesh that I used, the stainless steel mesh, it's a little bit beefier, you know, more rugged. I doubt that's not going to go passing through the on and off. So, but the steel wool, maybe it could. So I'm not ruling out using it. I'm just saying I want to try this first and see if this resolves it. So, and I'm not screwing around today with anything in the chamber. I'm going to keep the chamber wide open so I can make sure that I don't have any leaks on here. I did put some silicone oil inside the quick connect here. Matter of fact, I put in some just to make sure that this was working properly. One of my viewers has suggested, you know, maybe that would help. And you know, I don't think I had put any silicone in there in a while. So I put a couple drops down inside here just to make sure this is operating properly. I am going to lubricate this way rather than do it through the CO2 chambers. Just put a little bit in there, a little bit of lube, and actually, let me wipe that off. Like getting all messy. Yeah, so we'll put some lubricant in there. Make sure that's good and tight. All right, that should be good there. I don't want to lose any more CO2 out of this. Although I did get another shipment in the mail, so that's good. All right, let's go ahead and load these in. And then we'll give it a try. We'll do test number 5 and see, you know, hopefully we don't have any further auto fire with it. Really, that's what was wasting all my CO2 besides the leak I had down here as well. So, all right. These are not preloaded. We're going to go ahead and do that now. So you put our inboard ones in. All right, nipple first. We'll put the bottom tanks nipple first, inboard. And then I have these plastic spacer washers that I use just to drop one in each one here. It'll sit down on the back of the 12 grams in there. Just give me a little bit more spacing. And then the outboard CO2s, 12 grams, will be nipple out, facing the piercing device. Right there. Same thing for that one there. Okay, so now we got all 4 cartridges in there. This is when, you know, probably a good time to throw some silicone lubricant on the end here as well. But I already put some lubricant in the chamber here. That'll get circulated through the gun. And before I do that, let me back these out first. These puncture screws were still run all the way down. Let's back those out. There's one. All right. That good and tight. And this one as well. Back that out. Okay. And we'll put the second puncture cap on. Make sure it's good and tight so those O-rings seal. All right, make sure the gogs, it's on, that's off, it's in the off position. That's sealed. All right, I'm going to start off by puncturing the bottom adapter first with these two 12 grams. As I puncture it, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go slow as I puncture it so that as soon as I hear the first one kick off, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this and this on and off valve. I'm going to close it and make sure that I don't have any other leaks. Again, before I waste any more gas. In theory, anyways. That's what we're going to do. So let's do that now. Ooh, I had that one too loose. All right, that's another thing with these screw-ons. I noticed that you can't have, especially when you're running 2 of them. It's not obviously not a problem when you're only running 1 of them. But all right, so I lost a little bit of gas there. All right, I had that out too far. All right, let's try it again. Okay, that's better now. My bad. My bad on that. And now I'm going to have less air because of that. I wanted to start this test off perfect as possible, and I went and screwed that up. All right, that's all right. We're gonna see what we get out of it anyways. All right, so we got 2 at the bottom fully punctured. I'm gonna puncture the top ones. I gotta remember to snug these up, but not to crank them all the way down, or else they do leak from the back pressure. All right, I'm just gonna go for it, man. Just gonna go for it, and then I'll turn the gog on. Because if this doesn't work, I was gonna take a freaking nap or something. I don't know. All right, you can hear that. That one's kicking off. All right, there goes the 4th one kicking off. So I lost some gas. That sucks. But what are you gonna do? Hopefully I don't lose any more through here. This should be good. Like I said, this is an open expansion chamber now. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the gog on. The gog on and off on. I don't hear anything leaking over here, so I'm gonna turn that on now. Whew. Thankfully. All right, everything's quiet. I'm not hearing anything. So I screwed up a little bit on these. I forgot that with these things, especially, the challenge is I'm running 2. You got to crank these back out so that you can reload it, right? From the first time I used them, I left them, I never, spun them back out. So naturally I had to do that. So, but with these, they seem to be, when you're running 2 of them, because you're backflowing, as soon as you puncture even the first one of these 2 down here, or if you puncture this first, either way, as soon as you puncture one of these 4 12 grams, it's backflowing, right? Because my on and off is here. It's ahead of both of the adapters, so it will backflow into here naturally. I didn't have this turned in enough. It was backed all the way out, so it was creating a leak. So when I first started puncturing this, it backflowed through and I lost a little bit of gas through here. And then as soon as I heard it, I immediately started to spin it in a little bit. Not puncture it fully, but spun it in enough to seal off the leak, if you follow me. All right, so everything's tight now. Everything's gassed up, but I did lose some pressure. How much, I don't know. At this point, I would say if it's a successful test, if I'm able to get off 2 magazines, I'm going to use the 4 gram. In this test, I'm going to use the 4 gram less lethal ballistics Vindicator rounds, the 4 gram rounds. So if I can get off 2 magazines, that's with my expansion chamber in play, right? I don't have an empty cartridge in here any longer. I took that out, so this is wide open, which should give me my power back, because I noticed I lost a lot of power by running that empty CO2 in there. Okay, so, and I want the power back. So, yeah. So if I can get through those 2 rounds without auto fire and without any weird stuff going on that makes me think I'm still having issues with, picking up a slug of CO2, then I'm going to call it success. Anyways, I'll continue testing it anyway. I'm sure I'll be doing more tests. May not be on this marker. I may go back to another one. I might test this on my X68 as well. More so, I just wanted to continue with this gun because I was getting the auto fire issues, and I wanted to kind of address that, first before I tried fitting this on another gun, so another marker. So we're going to test that now, and we're going to see if the auto fire problem comes back or not. Hopefully it doesn't come back, and also that other weird issue I was getting, like towards the end of the as the tanks were drained, I noticed I was getting what I believe to be liquid CO2 somehow sneaking through. I'll try not to flip the gun around too much this time anyways. But now I get that stainless steel screen in there, so I'm hoping that will help atomize any of the liquid and keep it from slugs from getting in there. And if it doesn't, then we'll try the steel wool next. So we'll see how that goes. So we're aired up. I want to make this kind of a shorter video. It's been going about 15 minutes now. So got a lot of sun today in the yard. Get the pool opened up. And I think I got sunburned. At least I can feel it coming on now. It's starting to feel like freaking leather over here. So I'm going to make this a quick video. And yeah, it was a beautiful day. 80 degrees. Tomorrow's going to be 80 and it's supposed to be 90 on Tuesday. So I had to get that pool going. So I got it all vacuumed out nice and clean. Family's going to be good and happy now with that. So, all right. Okay. Here's a magazine of the, again, these are the Vindicators. 50 caliber Vindicators. They are 4 grams. Okay. Less lethal ballistics. I've used these a lot. They're pretty good intermediate weighted ammo. I like to shoot the steel ball bearings, but these are kind of like a good in between the alien play aluminum and the ball bearings anyways. Usually put up pretty good numbers with these, so we'll see what we put up with them. All right, Cronny's set to feet per second. I will be calling out the feet per second, and let's see what we get and see how it behaves. All right. Okay. All right. 4 gram ammunition. Let's see, mag 1, shot 1. Here we go. 499.7 feet per second. Shot 2. 484.7 feet per second. That's very powerful. I mean, it feels good. So far, so good. Shot 3. 480.8 feet per second. Shot 4. 472.5 feet per second. Shot 5. 464.6 feet per second. And this should be shot 6. 454 feet per second. All right, so shot 5, I felt a little stutter. I wouldn't quite call it an auto fire, but I felt like a little stutter, I think. All right, so that's the first magazine of 6 4-gram Vindicators. All right, so yeah, like a little bit of a stutter. I don't know, maybe if you guys heard it or not, but so, and that was shot number 5 that I heard that. So we'll continue shooting. We got the second magazine of 4-gram Vindicators. Barrel looks good. Not hearing any leaks. Everything feels good. Gun feels very powerful. Yeah. So here we go with mag number 2. All right. 4-gram Vindicators. Mag 2, shot 1. $459.7, shot 2. 424.7, shot 3. 359.1 feet per second, and this is like shot 4. Shot 4. All right, that was an auto fire. 272.8, very low feet per second on that with that auto fire. All right, so I'm still getting some auto fire. I'm going to turn this gog off and do the little trick that some guys do. I'm going to go ahead and turn this to a like halfway position and see if that adds a little more restriction in here. So right now I'm on full on. I'm going to turn it just back a little bit. Actually, that's off. That's on. Let me see where happy medium is. It's full on. Let's go back a little bit. All right. Try to turn it to like halfway. We'll see if that makes a difference. All right. I forget what count I was on. Forget what count. All right, I got 2 left. So let's clock that, right? Let's clock that. All right, right there. There it is. 2 left. All right. All right, so I got the GOG. All right, so I started getting auto fire. So I turned the GOG to just to restrict, add a little bit more restriction from full on. I kind of turned it, I don't know, almost like halfway in between on and off. We'll see if that helps. All right. Okay, so I got 2 left. So this would be mag 2 shot 5 is what we're on here. Right? Yeah, mag 2 shot 5. Here we go. 287.2 feet per second. This should be shot 6. Ooh. All right, maybe I turned it too far. Because I don't think I'm out of gas. All right, let me turn it on a little more. Yeah, I turned it too far. Apparently, you don't get much adjustment with this. Now, I don't know if I changed anything because I did drill out this GOG a little bit. So, you know, all right. So maybe I went too far. So I'm full on again, and I heard the bolt activate. I'm just going to back it off just a little bit. Just ever so little. See if that helps. All right. So this should be shot number 6. Here we go. Shot number 6. Actually, did I not clock this right? Because nothing came out. All right, I totally messed up that clocking. Oops. All right. Try it again. All right, I think I got it now, as I wasted a shot. All right, here we go. Shot number 6. $178 feet per second. Jeez, that's really low. I mean, for $4,000, even with $4,000, that's pretty low. All right. I don't know if adjusting this GOG on and off really is working for me. I don't know. All right. I wish I had a gauge on here because it's tough to tell what I have left for CO2. I mean, the bolt's still activated, so I got enough pressure to keep that activated. I'm going to load a third magazine. I got 6 more of these 4-gram Vindicators. So I don't know how many I'll get off on these because I have wasted gas. I started off wasting gas because I screwed up with the not having that turned in enough. I had a leak. Can't win with this stuff. All right. Anyways, it happens. It happens, guys. So I had a leak, so I probably wasted like half a CO2 tank or something with that. And then getting a few more auto fires. It's just so strange because you would think if you're going to get auto fire, you'd get it, you'd start off getting it. And I had like a really good, strong first magazine. All 6 shots were really strong. I had a little bit of a stutter on shot 5, I think it was. I mean, ever so slightly, I could hear something a little off, but not an auto fire, not until the second mag. It's just kind of weird that it's coming in that way. I mean, maybe I'm still getting some slugs of liquid through there. I might have to try the steel wool next. Maybe that stainless steel screen I put in there, maybe it's not catching enough or atomizing enough. So I don't know. I'll probably try steel wool next. I just wanted to try that because I was concerned that steel wool could make its way through the gun, but it probably wouldn't make it. You know, it's pretty coarse stuff that I picked up anyways. So I don't know. That's what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be trying that next anyway. So let's. All right, we got 6. I don't think we're gonna get through 6. That last shot was like 187 feet per second, 4-gram ammo. That's still pretty low. Pretty low for feet per second. So, but we'll shoot until the trigger won't respond anymore, I guess. So let's see. This is magazine 3, shot 1, 4-gram. 4-gram. All right. Mag 3, shot 1. 109.3 feet per second. Yeah, that goes any lower. I'm not sure about this chronogram, if it will measure under 100 feet per second, but I know the X radar wouldn't. So we're running pretty stinking low now. So I think I wasted a lot of my gas between the leak I had there and the auto shot, the auto fire that I was getting on the second magazine. So we're not there yet, folks. So I think I'm just gonna, yeah. And it's weirdest thing is like the bolt kind of, let me turn this off. It's like when it stops firing and it's all done, I noticed that the bolt sometimes it gets like stuck out. It doesn't like retract, which is, yeah, it's dry air coming out. Yeah, so we were definitely running out of gas. It's kind of a weird thing that this gun does. I've never seen any other gun do that. So I only got one more shot out of that. So I was like 13 shots. I got like 13 shots out of all this CO2 because of me wasting it. So that stinks. But it is what it is. All right, so that is test number 5. In a mess there. Yeah, so that's test number 5. I'm still fighting some auto fire here. A little bit of auto fire. I don't know if it's, at this point, again, because I'm not getting it out of the gate, it's making me think that it's still related to liquid CO2. So next thing I'm going to do is I might leave that screen in there as well. Or maybe I'll pull it out and I'll just pack in some steel wool inside this piece here and just see if that helps at all. So I think that'll be the next thing that I try. So, and yeah, so that's test number 5. So there'll be a test number 6, I guess. Anyways, thanks for watching. All right, peace out.